All right, everybody, welcome back. Today, we're diving into something super relevant, sustainability leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hear so much about sustainability these days, but how do we actually make it happen? Like, how do we move beyond just, the talk?
It's more than just a buzzword, right?
Right. And that's why we're going to be taking a deep dive into Masood Khan's podcast, Sustainability Rewired, specifically an episode he did that was all about leadership. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what we can learn.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig into this.
Yeah, me too. So Khan starts off, and this is interesting, he starts off talking about this idea of a leader's vision being really critical. And it's more than just saying like, oh, we want to be a sustainable company. He's talking about a much bolder vision,
Mhm.
right? Like if you were leading a company, what would be that big like dream scenario? What would that actually look like? What would make you get out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. It's not enough to just say, we want to be sustainable. You have to have that vivid picture, that really clear vision of what a sustainable future looks like for your specific company, your industry.
Yeah, what would actually get everyone on board with it, right? Like make it feel real and tangible and exciting.
Exactly. It has to be compelling.
So you've got this vision, great, but how do you actually make it happen? And this is where I think it gets really interesting. Khan talks about the importance of corporate governance. What do you make of that?
That's where the rubber meets the road. A vision is great, but you need the structure, the systems, the accountability to make it a reality.
So this is kind of like, if you think about it, like weaving sustainability into the very fabric of how the company is run.
Exactly. It's not just a separate initiative or a department. It's about integrating it into the governance,
Mm.
which means things like tying executive compensation to sustainability goals or having a board committee specifically dedicated to overseeing sustainability performance.
Right, so you're making it count. You're making it actually matter.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
You're putting your money where your mouth is, so to
Yeah.
speak. It's about sending a very clear signal that this is a priority.
And then Khan moves on to stakeholder engagement, right?
Yes.
Which is fascinating. Who are we even talking about when we say stakeholders? I mean, obviously, it's more than just shareholders.
It's everyone who's impacted by the company. It's employees, it's customers, it's suppliers, it's the local communities where you operate, it's even future generations. It's really thinking about that broader ecosystem and how your decisions impact all of those stakeholders.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, we hear so much about interconnectedness and how everything's connected, but this is really putting it into practice.
Yeah, and I think a lot of companies are realizing that this stakeholder engagement piece is not just about, checking the box. It's actually about creating value.
Absolutely. So I mean, did Khan give any examples of how companies are successfully engaging their stakeholders? Because I think that's where it becomes really interesting, right? It's like, how do you actually do that well?
Yeah, he did. He talked about how some companies are involving their stakeholders in the sustainability journey from the get-go.
Uh,
So that might look like, soliciting feedback on environmental initiatives or partnering with local communities on social impact
well,
projects,
that's cool.
right?
Yeah.
Or even empowering employees to come up with innovative sustainability solutions.
So it's kind of like you're creating a sense of shared purpose and ownership,
I
right?
mean, absolutely. Because when people feel like they're part of the solution, that's when they're more likely to get on board.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point. And then Khan ends with, he ties it all together with this idea of transparency and culture. How do those two things go together?
Well, he argues that transparency is essential for building a culture of trust, both within the company and with external stakeholders. So it's not enough to just be sustainable. You have to be open about it.
Mm.
You have to be willing to share your goals, your progress, even your challenges.
But you have to actually be willing to talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that vulnerability can be really powerful because it shows that you're not perfect. You're on a journey. You're
Yeah.
learning as you go, but you're committed to doing better.
And I think that's something that people really respond to.
Absolutely.
Authenticity, right?
Yes.
Well, this has been such a fascinating deep dive into sustainability leadership. It really makes you think. Khan highlighted these really important roles that, CEOs and executives play in pushing sustainability forward. But it also makes you wonder, like, what about the power of individual action? What about the things that each of us can do, maybe even in our own workplaces or our own lives, to kind of push for more sustainability?
I think it's something to really reflect on. Leadership can come from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do in your own sphere of influence to make a difference?
Something to think about.
Hmm.
All right. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.